Hello everyone, it's me, Aaron, Professor Thorgy, your guide to all things geeky, and welcome to another episode of Game Room, the show every single week on this channel where we just geek out about video games. And if you've watched this channel for long enough, then you know that I am a huge fan of Pokemon. It's one of my favorite game franchises of all time. So when I learned that this week, movie studios had begun bidding on the rights to make a live-action Pokemon movie, I was excited. I don't know why they waited until now to start doing it. Maybe it's because it's the 20th anniversary of Pokemon. Maybe it's because Pokemon Sun and Moon is coming out later this year. Who can really say why they decided that now was the perfect time to start bidding on this? But the important thing is, oh my god, my phone's vibrating! Phone's vibrating! Oh, it's just a Pidgey. Anyway, I don't know why they decided to wait until, you know what, I'm gonna catch that Pidgey anyways. I can always use more. But who cares what made them decide to start doing it now? The important thing is that that big imaginative world that we have all dreamed of since we were kids is finally going to be brought to the big screen. We're finally going to have something up there that fully captures all that imagination, everything that we have always wanted it to be. So that is why today on Game Room, we're going to count down the top 10 things that we want to see in the upcoming Pokemon movie. Now at number 10, oh my gosh, ladies and gentlemen, I've just been handed a special report. According to this, the bidding war is already over. Legendary Studios has won, and the very first Pokemon movie in their franchise, I smell a shared universe. The very first Pokemon movie in their franchise will be Detective Pikachu. Okay. Before I continue, let me just say, I fully understand that the image of a grown-ass 6'3" man going on a rant about Pokemon is ridiculous and kinda dumb. Also, I understand there are a lot of people out there who are really excited about this Detective Pikachu movie, and they think it's a great idea. And if you're one of those people, great, awesome, I'm glad that you have that, good for you. However, if you are one of those people, you might want to come back later in the week. We'll have some more positive videos about everything from the world of geekery then. But for everybody who is sticking around, Legendary! What? Pokemon is one of the biggest game franchises in the history of game franchises. It's got this huge world filled with bright, colorful, imaginative creatures that you capture and battle and bond with in your quest to become the very best like no one ever was. And the thing that you're going to give us is the out-of-shape, womanizing Danny DeVito Pikachu? There have been dozens and dozens of games that you, an American company, could adapt to be filmed in America and be distributed here in America, and the game that you chose was the one that never came to America? Out of all the games that have spread around the entire world in the 20 years of Pokemon, the one that you decided to adapt was the one that never got released outside of Japan. And I know what you might be saying. Why do you want a movie adaptation of Pokemon? You have the games, which are more immersive, so shouldn't you just be happy with that? Let me explain. This comes up every single time that there is a movie adaptation of a video game. Movies and video games are completely different, but because they're completely different, you also get a different type of enjoyment out of them. You get a different type of experience. So that's why it's not uncommon for someone who is a huge fan of a video game to want to see it adapted into a movie, so that way they can get that different type of experience. They can get a different type of enjoyment out of that thing that they love so much. However, when it comes to Pokemon, the whole appeal of that is going out there into the wild, going out there and hunting these wild, crazy creatures, battling gyms, reaching for the top to be the very best. Tell them, theme song!
I wanna be the very best, like no one ever was. To catch them is my real test, to train them is my cause.
Yes, that, right there. That's what we want to see, not one of these characters as an old washed up detective. And Legendary, you got the golden snitch on this one. You got the rights to the live action Pokemon movie. You got the rights to something that for 20 years has proven that it can make money around the globe. And you're going to ignore it? You got the rights to a live action Pokemon movie and you're not going to do this, or 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 this. No, instead you're going to do this? And Legendary, you're the guys who made that last Godzilla adaptation, which, yeah, had its flaws, but Godzilla was awesome in it. And you also did Pacific Rim and Jurassic World. You're people who understand the appeal of seeing big, giant monsters fight each other and you're going to give us this.
I am not a human being! I am an animal! Cold-blooded!
And I know some people might be saying, well, what's wrong with making a Detective Pikachu movie? I think the idea sounds fun. I think it sounds cute. Yeah, me too! I think you can make a really fun and cute Detective Pikachu movie. I think that sounds great. However, my problem isn't that they're making a Detective Pikachu film, it's that that's the first film that they're making. Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. DC has recently announced that they have a sitcom coming out called Powerless, which is a workplace comedy about an insurance company set in the DC universe where superheroes are constantly blowing stuff up. That sounds great. It sounds refreshing, it sounds new, it sounds like a great spoof of this world. And the reason it sounds like all those things is because it's coming out after Flash, Arrow, Supergirl, and the DC Cinematic Universe. Now, imagine if that came first. Yes, you, as a big comic book fan, might look at that and go, oh, that sounds great, but not as much as you would probably look at The Flash or Arrow and say that sounds great. And if you are not a comic book fan, you would probably look at that and go, yeah, I don't get what the big deal is. I mean, I think I understand this, alright, sure, whatever. That's what Detective Pikachu is. Detective Pikachu is not the first film that comes out, it's the Pokemon film that comes out after we've had about 12 other Pokemon films, and audiences are going, I know this world, and I need something different. I need something to come in and spoof this to kind of liven it up again. Detective Pikachu is the Deadpool of Pokemon movies, not the Iron Man. And I know someone's going to say, but everyone knows what Pokemon is. Have you seen how many people are playing Pokemon Go? Everyone's into Pokemon now. Yes, I love that Pokemon Go is getting so many people into Pokemon. Both old fans and brand new fans are experiencing Pokemon right now. That is fantastic. However, Pokemon Go is a game that captures that feeling of going out there into the wild and exploring for Pokemon. That's the entire point of that game, and that's what makes Pokemon work in the first place. And again, that's what this movie is going to ignore. But also, Pokemon Go doesn't really get you into the world of Pokemon. It brings Pokemon to your world. And if you're going to spoof Pokemon and the world of Pokemon, you kind of need to get that general audience into that world first, which Pokemon Go doesn't really do. But again, all these problems of mine are just my opinion, so you guys are allowed to disagree with me, and in all honesty, you probably should, because this is easily the dumbest thing I've ever done a rant about. However, there is one thing about this movie that has me nervous beyond it just not being the movie that I wanted to see. And it's that they said they were going to rush this into production so that they could start filming at the beginning of next year and have it out hopefully by the end of next year. Okay, name me one time that the phrase rushed into production was ever used to describe a film and wasn't immediately followed by, and that explains all the problems. Again, there are exceptions, but generally whenever things are rushed into production, it feels like a cash grab, and let's be honest, that's kind of what this is. It feels to me like Pokemon Go hit was a massive success, and then Legendary said, oh, we need to get in on this, we need to get some of that money. So they got the rights to the live action movie, and then they went, okay, we don't actually know anything about Pokemon. Does anybody here know anything about Pokemon? Because we need to get this film out before this Pokemon Go craze dies down, and we don't have time to research it. And then someone in the office just spoke up and went, wasn't there a change.org petition like a couple months back and it made the news about how people want Danny DeVito to voice like Detective Pikachu or something? And then they went, by God, Johnson, you're right. That was something in the news. That was something everyone was talking about. That's the film we need to make because that's clearly what fans want. It kind of feels like that was the motivation behind this. It kind of feels like no one in that office stood up and said, yeah, everybody wanted Danny DeVito to voice Detective Pikachu as a joke because they thought it would be funny. Pokemon fans were excited about that Detective Pikachu trailer because it cracked them up. Not because it described everything that they loved about Pokemon. It would almost be like if Marvel finally got the rights to Spider-Man back and they announced that their very first Spider-Man movie was going to be based entirely around those asshole Spider-Man memes from the 1960s cartoon. Although Legendary, if you really are going to make this movie, I might be criticizing you, but you really do need to get Danny DeVito to be the voice of Detective Pikachu. Also, if you want to give him a talking Bulbasaur sidekick, I'm totally available. I'm right here. I will gladly erase this entire video and take back everything I said if you just give me that opportunity. I'm such a sellout! Okay, that's it for today's episode of Game Room, everyone. Again, I realize this was a dumb thing to rant about, but when I heard that this was the movie we were going to be getting, I can't help it, my jaw did kind of drop a little. In fact, I even went on Twitter and asked you guys if I should rant about this because I was like, is this too stupid to rant about? And you guys overwhelmingly said, no, we want you to rant about this. So, hope you guys enjoyed me making an ass out of myself. And if you want to see me make an ass out of myself even more on this channel, then make sure that you hit that subscribe button. Like I said, we do fun, geeky stuff every single week, including Game Room, the show dedicated to video games, Comic Class, the show dedicated to Comic Class, and then we've got reviews every single week on everything from the world of geekery. So if you want to see any of that, then make sure that you continue to stay tuned to this channel. And as always, you can always contact me on Twitter and Tumblr at Professor Thorky. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Come back next time. Bye.